The chandeliers in the grand ballroom of the Sterling estate were worth more than Lisa had earned in her entire life. 500 guests, dressed in silk and velvet, murmured softly as the music played. It was supposed to be the happiest day of Lisa's life. She stood near the center of the room, her hands trembling slightly. She was not wearing a designer gown. Her dress was simple, white, and bought from a second-hand store. But she had sewn delicate pearls onto the sleeves herself, trying to make it look worthy of this world. Lisa was an orphan. She had no parents to walk her down the aisle, no dowry to bring to the marriage. She only had Mark, the man who loved her despite his family's immense wealth. But Mark was currently on the other side of the room, greeting a senator. Lisa was alone. That was when Victoria, Mark's mother, approached her. Victoria was a woman who wore her cruelty like she wore her diamonds cold hard and sharp. She held a large glass of dark red wine in her hand. She stopped just inches from Lisa, looking her up and down with eyes full of disgust. The room seemed to go quiet, though the music played on. "You really thought you could pull this off, didn't you?" Victoria whispered, her voice like venom. "Look at you. You look like a maid trying to play dress-up. This fabric, it's pathetic." Lisa looked down, her face burning with shame. I made the alterations myself, Victoria. I tried my best. Your best is not good enough for the Sterlings," Victoria sneered. "We are royalty in this city, and you are nobody. You are a gold digger who trapped my son with your pitiful sob stories. But I will not let you ruin our family photos with this rag." Before Lisa could take a breath, Victoria raised her hand. She didn't stumble. It wasn't an accident. With a deliberate, aggressive motion, she threw the entire glass of red wine onto Lisa's chest. The liquid splashed violently, soaking the white fabric instantly. It looked like a wound. It dripped down to her waist, ruining hours of work, ruining the purity of the moment. The sound of the splash was followed by a gasp from the nearby guests. "Oops," Victoria said, not even trying to fake an apology. A cruel smile played on her lips. "Looks like you're trash after all. Better run along now, dear." "You don't belong here." Lisa froze. The cold wine seeped into her skin, but it was the humiliation that burned. Tears instantly blurred her vision. She didn't scream. She didn't fight back. She just turned around and ran, pushing through the confused crowd, her heart shattering into a million pieces. Lisa locked herself in the bathroom at the end of the hall. She sank to the cold tiled floor, hugging her knees, heedless of the red stain spreading on her dress. In the mirror, she saw a monster. That was how Victoria made her feel. Not like a bride, but like a monster. This wasn't the first time. For the last 6 months, Victoria had made Lisa's life a living hell. It started with small comments about Lisa's lack of education. Then, she stopped inviting Lisa to family dinners. But the worst moment, the moment that truly broke Lisa's spirit, happened only 2 weeks ago. Lisa had a dog, a small, scruffy terrier named Buster. Buster was the only family Lisa had left after her parents died in a car crash 10 years ago. Buster was her shadow, her protector, her heart. 2 weeks before the wedding, Mark and Lisa had gone to the Sterling estate for a rehearsal dinner. They had brought Buster along because he was old and needed medication. Victoria had thrown a fit, demanding the dirty beast stay in the garage. Lisa had reluctantly agreed, making sure Buster had water and a warm blanket. But when they went to check on him 3 hours later, the garage door was wide open. Buster was gone. Lisa had searched the woods for 3 days. She didn't eat. She didn't sleep. On the 4th day, a gardener found poor Buster by the side of the road, lifeless. The vet said it looked like poisoning, followed by exposure to the cold. Lisa had cried until she had no tears left. Mark was devastated too, but Victoria just shrugged and said, "It's for the best. Now you can focus on being a proper wife, not a zookeeper." Sitting on the bathroom floor now, looking at the ruined wedding dress, Lisa felt that same darkness closing in. She felt small. She felt defeated. Victoria had won. She had taken Lisa's dog, her dignity, and now her wedding day. "I should just leave," Lisa whispered to the empty room. "She's right. I don't belong here." She stood up to wash her face, ready to sneak out the back door and never come back. She reached for the door handle, but suddenly it swung open from the outside. It wasn't a guest. It wasn't a maid. It was Mark. But Mark didn't look like the happy groom anymore. His face was pale, his jaw was set tight, and his eyes were burning with a rage Lisa had never seen before. He looked at the red stain on her dress, then at her tear-stained face. He didn't say a word. He just gently took her hand. "Mark, I'm sorry," Lisa sobbed. "I'll leave. I won't embarrass you anymore." "You aren't going anywhere," Mark said, his voice terrifyingly calm. "Wipe your tears, Lisa. We have one more thing to do before we leave." Mark led Lisa back into the ballroom. The atmosphere was awkward. Guests were whispering, glancing at the door, wondering where the bride had gone. Victoria was standing near the center table, laughing with her friends, holding a fresh glass of champagne. She looked triumphant. She thought she had successfully chased the rat away. When the double doors opened and Mark walked in, holding Lisa's hand, the room fell silent again. Lisa tried to hide the red stain with her arm, but Mark pulled her hand down. "Let them see," he whispered. "Wear it like armor." He didn't lead her to the head table. Instead, he walked her straight to the stage where the DJ was standing. The Musica's soft jazz tune stopped abruptly as Mark took the microphone. The feedback screech made everyone wince. "Ladies and gentlemen," Mark began. His voice echoed through the massive hall. "Thank you all for coming. I know we haven't cut the cake yet. I know we haven't had our first dance. But something happened tonight that needs to be addressed." Victoria rolled her eyes from the crowd. She shouted out, "Oh, stop the drama, Mark. Just let the girl go and let's enjoy the evening." Mark locked eyes with his mother. The look he gave her was so cold that Victoria actually took a step back. "Mother," Mark said, "you always told me that the truth is the most important virtue of the Sterling family. You told me that liars and cheats have no place in this house." "Of course," Victoria scoffed, nervously adjusting her pearl necklace. "That is why I tried to protect you from her." She pointed a manicured finger at Lisa. "Well," Mark continued, pulling his smartphone out of his pocket, "I received an email 10 minutes ago. It seems the new security system I installed in the estate, the one you didn't know about, Mother has a very sensitive microphone feature, and it covers the kitchen area perfectly." Victoria's face went from smug to pale white in a split second. "What are you doing?" she hissed. "I was looking for footage of the wine incident," Mark said, plugging his phone into the main projector system. A massive screen descended behind him. "But I found something else, something from 2 weeks ago. The night Buster died, a murmur ran through the crowd." Lisa looked up at Mark, confused. He squeezed her hand tight. "Don't look away," he told her softly. "You need to see this. Everyone needs to see this." Mark tapped the screen. The video began to play. The video on the giant screen was grainy, but the audio was crystal clear. It showed the estate kitchen, late at night. Victoria was there, wearing her silk robe. She was holding a piece of raw meat. In the video, she was talking on the phone. "Yes, I'm doing it now," the digital Victoria said. "The little beast is in the garage. I bought the strongest rat poison on the market. One piece of this steak and the dog will be gone by morning. Then the girl will be too heartbroken to focus on the wedding. I'll finally be rid of them both." The entire ballroom gasped. 500 people turned to look at Victoria. On the screen, Victoria walked out towards the garage. The video cut to a second angle the garage camera. It showed her placing the poisoned meat in Buster's bowl. It showed her opening the garage door and shooing the confused dog out into the freezing night. "Go on, die somewhere else," she said in the recording. The video ended. The silence in the ballroom was deafening. It was heavier than the silence after the wine spill. This was the silence of horror. Lisa was sobbing, her hands covering her mouth. Mark turned to his mother. "You killed him," Mark said, his voice breaking. "You killed an innocent animal just to hurt the woman I love. You are not a mother. You are a monster." Victoria tried to speak. "Mark, it was just a dog. She is a nobody. I did it for us. For our reputation." "Reputation?" A deep voice boomed. It was Mark's father, William. He stepped out of the crowd. He looked at his wife with pure disgust. "You have destroyed this family's reputation in 5 minutes more than anyone has in 100 years. William turned to the security guards. "Escort her out and call the police. Animal cruelty is a felony in this state." "William, no." Victoria screamed as 2 large guards grabbed her arms. She kicked and screamed, her elegance completely gone. She looked like a madwoman. As she was dragged out of the hall, her guests, her friends, her social circle turned their backs on her. No one helped. No one looked at her. She had lost everything. Mark turned to Lisa. He took off his expensive tuxedo jacket and placed it over her shoulders, covering the wine stain. "I don't want their money," Mark said into the microphone. "I don't want this house. I don't want this life if it means being like her." He looked at Lisa. "Let's go." They walked out of the ballroom together, leaving the luxury behind. 3 years later, Mark and Lisa live in a small, cozy cottage near the ocean. They don't have millions of dollars, but they have peace. In the garden, a new puppy is running around, playing in the grass. Mark is a teacher, and Lisa opened her own bakery. They are happy. And Victoria, she lives alone in a small apartment, visited by no one, left only with her bitterness and the memory of the night the wine stained her life forever.